Hello, hockey fans. My name is David. Starting this message in this video, 5:52 on the afternoon of Saturday, 26th of March, 2022, North American Eastern Time, in response to a video posted hours ago by YouTuber Canuck Clay, whose real name is Clay Imu, that the game with the Dallas, between the Canucks and Stars, which is, what is it there? I'm just going to look for it. Is, we just see here, is a road game in North Texas. I say, yeah, given where the Canucks are in the standings, there's no doubt it's going to be important for the Canucks. But with that game clashing with a start time expected to be around the same time as that with my hometown Leafs, after taking into account pre-game ceremonies such as national anthem singing, probably going to be missing a lot of that Canucks Stars game because I'm a fan of Leafs, and I'm going to watch as much of that Leaf game as I possibly can. That Leaf game taking place against the Habs at Montreal's Bell Centre. Senators will be hosting the Panthers at the Canadian Tire Centre in Ottawa, or Greater Ottawa area, whatever. And later on, there'll be among four North American teams, the Battle of Alberta, with the Flames in Calgary playing host. So overall, it's going to be a very fun evening of games. Probably going to watch as much of the Oilers Canucks game as the Oilers Flame game as possible, but I'll probably focus most on the Leafs Habs game. So yeah, sure, Canucks have a lot to prove and to stay in the playoff race, but my hometown Leafs still have a lot to prove because last month at Bell Center, the Leafs ended up losing a 5-2 decision to the Habs. Defense was not very good. Goaltending wasn't very good either. So Eric Shalgren, who played with the Marlies during his Leaf contract until last month or so, will be getting the start against the Habs, with Peter Mrazek, another Leaf backup, getting the start against the Panthers at Scotiabank Arena. So yeah, the Canucks have something to prove, staying in the playoff race. A loss, particularly if it happens in regulation, will mean probably the Canucks' chances diminish quite significantly. They're already minuscule as they are. There are too many teams, a lot of teams passed. Dallas Stars played fewer games, so it's going to be a really good test. Can the Canucks beat the Stars and get back in? We shall see. But can the Leafs prove that the changes that Dubas made at the trade deadline actually work? Yeah. Colin Blackwell, forward, acquired from the Seattle Kraken, and yes, Mark Giordano, a former Calgary Flame, who played as a defenseman for that Alberta team before being picked up in the expansion draft by the Seattle Kraken. So we'll see what happens. The additions of Giordano and Ilya Lyubushkin, picked up before the trade deadline, will they work? Will there be enough grit to beat a team that one would think, oh, it's a bottom feeder, so it shouldn't be a problem. But the Leafs have had trouble against the Habs. The Leafs have not won at the Bell Centre since Game 4 of the 2021 Stanley Cup playoffs. So since that game, the Leafs have played one game, and they end up losing bigly. So it's going to be, the Leafs have something to prove. And because the Leafs were going into the game against the Habs in a wildcard spot, even more to prove. Whether the Leafs can stay relatively close to the Bruins and Lightning to at least get back into the top three. Sure, things are a little bit different. Leafs are still over a dozen points ahead of the nearest relevant non-playoff team, the Columbus Blue Jackets. But if Leafs go on too much of a tailspin, it may very well be that Leafs, in a couple weeks' time, will be fighting for a playoff spot. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But we all got to be aware. The Leafs have something to prove. Also gets Florida Panthers on Sunday. can the Leafs get more than just a single point? It's not like the Leafs have played the Panthers since before 2020 NHL COVID shutdown. And then the Canadian government got involved and controversially decided to deny permission for foreigners to travel for non-essential purposes to this country. That meant that all Canadian teams were only going to get to play each other, and there was a question, last season about where the winner of the second round from within the North Division would get to play. That was resolved, but the point was that the Leafs have not played in the postseason against an American team since the Blue Jackets in 2020. But it looks like this time the Leafs do make the postseason, which I think they almost certainly do. They're going to play an American team for sure. Because the Habs are already out of Stanley Cup playoffs. The Senators are probably not going to get anywhere close to a playoff spot either. So the Habs will be a good test because the Leafs have had trouble against them. The Leafs, won a game in regulation early on in the season at Scotiabank Arena, but still, the Leafs have a lot to prove, and the Leafs are going to have to prove. Can Mark Giordano, Ilya Lyubushkin, and Colin Blackwell make enough of a difference to propel the Leafs over top the Habs? Propel the Leafs to start on time. Leafs didn't do that against New Jersey Devils, and Leafs barely squeaked through. Mrazek, who will be starting in net on Sunday, has a lot to prove. Did Mrazek, can Mrazek replicate the success that he had against the Devils when he plays against Florida Panthers on Sunday? Or will that win against the Devils, and where he allowed under 3 goals, just be a flash in the pan? It's important to note that Erik Källgren, starting in net against the Habs, has had mixed success so far. He ended up coming on in relief, stopping 10 of 11 shots in an overtime loss to the Arizona Coyotes. In his first start, he shut out the Dallas Stars. Against Hurricanes, he allowed 2 goals, but Leafs still won in regulation. And against the Predators, things kind of went a little bit off the rails. He allowed a couple of ugly goals, and he ended up, being tagged with his first regulation loss of his short NHL career. It's important to keep in mind that Källgren has been under contract to the Leafs since signing with the team. He just hasn't played that many games with the Leafs, but thought, okay, maybe the Leafs should call up Joseph Woll, who had played some good hockey earlier on in the season. It was Källgren, and hopefully Källgren can prove himself. And I think basically Källgren and Mrazek are playing for the backup job, so that if Jack Campbell does come back, who knows he will, that one of them will stay in the upper leagues, and one of them may very well have to go down to the minors. The Leafs are very tight against the cap. Yeah, sure, Dubas did not put the Leafs in a Dadonov type situation. We all know what happened with Dadonov. The Golden Knights tried to trade him away to the Ducks. Dadonov said no, didn't want to go to Anaheim. Well, so Leafs are going to have to do some due diligence during the off season, and if they're going to make some trades to make sure that any player they trade away does not have a no trade or no movement clause that prohibits movement to a particular team without that player's permission. We'll have to see what happens. Although such changes will have to be made to the roster if the Leafs fail to win a playoff series this spring. It's real simple. Kyle Dubas has been a GM, now in his 4th season. Brendan Shanahan has been president for, now his 8th season. One would have thought that the Shanahan plan would have resulted in a playoff series win by the Leafs, but nope, hasn't occurred. So really, when it comes down to it all, the Leafs have a lot to prove. They've got to do it. They can. The Leafs have the capability. They know that they can do better than 10 wins, 8 losses, 11 wins, 8 losses and two overtime losses and no shootout losses since the All-Star break. But the Leafs have a lot of work to do. Starting on time is really important, and they haven't done so since the Hurricanes. So the 2 games in a row, Leafs have surrendered the opening goal, and it's been a mixed bag. Can the Leafs this time start on time? It's going to be interesting to find out. Anyway, go Leafs go.